Hi everyone, it's JJ here and welcome or welcome back to Be Colorful. Here we are to make the third card using the flowers we created in the first video dedicated to the Tonic Craft Kit 50. Today I have in mind to make a rustic style card and I'd like to create a wrapped bouquet of flowers using flowers made with distress oxide sprays. The idea came to me from the video of VICKY, PAPAIOANNOU, I hope I have pronounced it well, a card maker that I have followed for years, but I don't have the die that she uses in that video. So we're gonna see how to create the cone to wrap our flowers without have specific dies. So I'm gonna use these flowers created in the first video. If you missed, you can watch it by clicking on the tab that appears here at the top right, or I leave you the link below in the description box. First of all, I'm gonna prepare the card base, a 3.5 by 8.5 inches slimline card on ivory cardstock. The longer sides of this card will allow us to create a beautiful large bouquet using our 3D flowers. Now let's move on to the creation of the background. I cut out a panel on pistachio green cardstock, slightly smaller than the card base, that is 3.25 by 8.25 inches, thus obtaining finishing edges. Next, I darken up the borders of the panel with a slightly darker green ink. And I'm going to add some interest in the background, such as random stamps, and a few splashes of pearlescent green, which I get by diluting with water a little bit of expanding mousse. I dry well, and to give the panel a more rustic look, I'm going to ruin the edges with a special tool. As I have always told you, to obtain this result, you can also use the blade of your scissors, being very careful not to cut yourself. The next step is to create our cone to wrap the flower bouquet. I'm going to use very thin craft paper taken from this pad I bought from Tiger, but you can use any paper, even pattern papers. I did some tests on a pattern paper, for example. So, to create the cone, let's cut out a square. The size can be changed, it depends on how big you want your bouquet. I cut out a 4.25 by 4.25 square. Then I'm going to cut out two sides diagonally, starting from one of the corners, getting the shape of a kite. Sorry, but I don't know what this geometric shape is called. Now I fold one of the diagonals towards the center, going a little beyond the center of the kite, and dividing the lower tip in half. Same thing for the other side. And the bouquet wrapping is ready. I take the Distress Ink vintage photo and darken up the edges of the all components of the card. I also slightly yellow the card base with Distress Ink Antique Linen. On some olive green cardstock, I'm going to cut out the flower stems, even if in the end they will not be seen, as they will be covered by the leaves. In fact, still on the olive green cardstock, I'm going to stamp a few leaves using one of the stamps included in the kit. Then I cut them out. I darken up the edges with the vintage photo so that they have the same rustic style as the other element of the card. And I model them with my paper modeling kit to give them dimension and movement. Otherwise, their flatness would clash with the three-dimensionality of the flowers. Okay, let's start assembling the bouquet. I glue the stems to the flowers. Then I decide how to position the flowers inside the cone, and when I'm satisfied with their placement, I'm going to attach them with a drop of hot glue. I glue the edges of the wrapping with foam pad, otherwise it would remain too flat if I used liquid glue, therefore unrealistic. To embellish the cone, I wrap it with jute twine. I make 3 turns. And I close it with a knot. I cut out the excesses well, and on the knot I glue a bow, always made with a jute twine. Our beautiful rustic bouquet has now taken shape. Before gluing the green panel on the card base, I'm going to roll up 2 corners and create the classic tiers of the slightly old paper. To make these tiers, I'm going to make a small cut and rolling up the 2 corners I got. And now I glue everything on the card base. Due to the thickness of the twine, there are gaps in the back of the cone, so I bring everything to the same level by applying 2 layers of foam pad, both above and below the twine. This will allow the cone to adhere well to the surface. Finally, I glue the leaves. For the sentiment, I decided to make a small tag, perfect for a bouquet of flowers. So I use one of the dies from the Tonic craft kit 49 on the ivory cardstock. On the tag I'm going to stamp the sentiment for someone special, included in the Tonic craft kit 48. When the black ink is completely dry, I yellow the tag with antique linen. In the appropriate hole, I thread a piece of jute twine and then glue the tag on the bouquet. I just have to add some finishing touches, creating peach color drops of vintage drop. And the card number 3 is also finished, and I feel very satisfied with the result. The realization is really simple. Maybe it's not a last-minute card, but that's just because I wanted to add so many details. Did you like this idea? If so, please let me know by giving me a thumbs up and leaving me a comment. I give you an appointment at the next video, where we will totally change the style. No vintage card or rustic element. It will be a simple and modern card. Thank you for stopping by. See you next time. Bye bye and be colorful.